thou shalt suffer, behold, the devil shall...
And the devil is talking about Esau, the elite among Esau, the Rothschilds, the super rich, the warlocks, the covens. That's the devil. Go ahead.
Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall...
And the word prison, look up the word prison in the blue letter, Revelation 2:10. What is a prison? A prison is a concentration camp. See, you niggas like in New York, you go to Rikers Island, you know, you go to the Tombs, they'll send you upstate to New Haven, Comstock. Out there in the West, you got a Pelican Bay. Well, you got Sing Sing in New York, you know. You got what is it, Fulton Prison. You got all these different federal prisons, and then you got regular jails out there. When you set up to a detention center, like Rikers Island is really a detention center. That's what it really is. When you check out the documents, it's the detention center. And then you there for a certain amount of time. But if you get sentenced to 5 years, you ain't going to do it in Rikers Islands or the Tombs. You're going to do it in Comstock. You're going to do it in, what is that? Is that New, did I say, not New Haven? Greenhaven, you know, downstate, all these different prison systems. They go way upstate because they want to bring employment to them crackers that live up there because there's no jobs up there. So that's a beautiful thing. They arrest you, Jakes, put you in the system, and that's a way for these devils to get jobs.
All right, the Greek word for prison.
Strong's G 5438. Fulake.
Guard, watch, a watching, keeping watch, to keep watch, persons keeping watch, a guard, sentinels of the place where captives are kept, a prison, of the time of night during which guard was kept, a watch, i.e. a period of time during which part of the guard was on duty and at the end of which others relieved him. It sounds like a prison. Concentration camp, yeah. As the earlier Greeks divided the night commonly into 3 parts, so previous to the exile, the Israelites also had 3 watches in a night. Subsequently, however, after they became subject to the Romans, they adopted the Roman custom of dividing the night into 4 watches. So basically that's what it means, a guard, a watch.
Okay, read that again.
This is Revelation 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
Yeah, so they're going to tempt, you're going to be tempted to see what you're going to do. And they're going to tempt you with that chip. You know, they're going to say, if you take that chip, that mark, that will let you out or will make it easy for you. And a lot of you jakes, you're going to fold, man. And a lot of you jakes is going to take that chip. You already know in the scriptures that it says the mark of the beast is the chip. Okay, is there more to that? Okay. Let's go back to the article.
Yeah, reading on, it says, as Glenn Greenwald notes, the key passages here are substantially supported and associated forces. The Obama administration and various courts have already expanded their definition of terrorism to include groups with no connection to 9/11. That goes back to what Elder Tar was saying about how they have expanded the legislation. Now, those of you that have been watching us, we always show you the picture of the Project Megiddo, and we always show you the list, and on that list they have black Hebrew Israelites. So this, you better believe this legislation has been expanded to include that group they call black Hebrew Israelites, i.e. certain belligerents in Yemen and Somalia, and to individuals who are not members of the target terror groups but merely provided substantial support. The definitions then are for the authorities conveniently fungible. They may use indefinite detention against anyone who substantially supports terror against the United States, and it looks an awful lot like they have leeway in defining not only what constitutes substantial and support, but even what terror is. Is a terrorist under this law necessarily a member of Al-Qaeda or the Taliban? Or is it merely someone who is engaged in hostilities against the United States? Here's what I think. We're in very dangerous territory. Excuse me. We have two very different but similarly large protest movements going on right now in the Tea Party and the Occupy movement. What if one of them is linked to a violent act? What if a bomb goes off in a police station in Oakland or an IRS office in Texas? What if the FBI then linked those acts to Occupy or the Tea movement, or the Tea Party, I'm sorry? You can see where this is going. When protesters on the first hand start flipping out about George Bush's indefinite detention and rendition policies, most people thought the idea that these practices might someday be used against ordinary Americans was merely an academic concern, something theoretical. But it's real now. If these laws are passed, we would be forced to rely upon the discretion of a demonstrably corrupt and consistently idiotic government to not use these awful powers to strike back at legitimate domestic unrest. Right now, the Senate is openly taking aim at the rights of American citizens under the guise of an argument that anyone who supports Al-Qaeda has no rights. But if you pay close attention, you'll notice the law's supporters here and there conveniently leaving out those caveats about anyone who supports Al-Qaeda. For instance, here's Lindsey Graham again. And this is a quote from Lindsey Graham. If you're an American citizen and you betray your country, you're not going to be given a lawyer. I believe our military should be deeply involved in fighting these guys at home or abroad. As Greenwald points out, this idea that an American who commits treason can be detained without due process is in direct defiance of Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution, which reads, "No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in an open court." This effort to eat away at the rights of the accused was originally gradual, but to me it looks like that process is accelerating. It began in the Bush years with a nebulous description of terrorist sedition that may or may not have included links to Sunni extremist groups in places like Afghanistan and Pakistan. But words like associated and substantial and betray have crept into the discussion. And now it feels like the definition of a terrorist is anyone who crosses some sort of steadily advancing invisible line in their opposition to the current government. This confusion about the definition of terrorism comes at a time when the economy is terrible, the domestic government is more unpopular than ever, and there's quite a lot of radical and even revolutionary political agitation going on right here at home. There are people out there, I've met some of them in both the Occupy and Tea Party movements, who think that the entire American political system needs to be overthrown or at least reconfigured in order for progress to be made. It sounds like paranoia and nuts to think that those people